All right, welcome back. So, moving ahead, we're going to start our actual game project. So what we'll do in this video is we will prepare our editor layout, make some minor adjustments so we have all the information that we need to start working. We're going to set up a custom game mode, we're going to create a custom pawn, and we're going to set up our little testing environment. So let's get started. So this is where we actually left off once we have created our new project, right? We are in our default starting scene for the engine, and this is the layout or default layout of the editor. So the first thing that we'll do is I'm going to click on this button to show and hide the sources panel, and that way I'll be able to see the different elements that are in my project. So I'll see my content folder, and also see my C++ classes. If I open up this folder here, I will see that I have a default Unreal Introduction game mode. This is one that was automatically generated when we created our C++ project. Right? We're not going to use this game mode for now. We're going to work around it in a second, and I'll show you how we'll do that. We're going to create a blueprint game mode because that will give us a little bit more freedom to work with. Um, Another thing that we'll do, as you can see, I have my output log here. If you do not see the output log, you can go to Window, and then developer tools, and then click on output log, and that will enable the output log. Now the output log is really useful to debug whatever is going on. It will help us read the debug logs that we send ourselves, but it will also give us information when something goes wrong. So once we get an error or there's a warning, we'll be able to get more information about what's happening here by looking at the output log, similar as the console in Unity. All right, so next up, we'll add some structure to a project. Um, so we'll create a new folder. Just gonna call it new folder. And oh, nope, not new folder. Create new folder, and I'm gonna call this blueprints. All right. And I'm also gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna call this levels. There we go. So it's important to note that once you create an asset in Unreal and it's located in a certain location, it's not safe or not always safe to just move it to a different location. So it's very important to think ahead of time about where you will locate everything. Unlike in Unity, you can't just freely go ahead and drag everything and move it to different locations. When you do that, at the location where the file used to be, it'll actually leave like a little marker, hidden marker file that says, well, um, this file that was located here was pointing to these and these and these assets. So whenever something that was using that asset is used or referenced in a scene, it'll look at that location and say like, okay, I need that asset. Where is it? And that file will say, well, it's no longer located here. It's actually located somewhere else. So you can, redirect to this location. So in Unreal, they call that redirectors. Should you ever run into a problem with redirectors, what you can do is you can right click on the folder, and then if you have a look, fix up redirectors in folder. So when you move stuff around in the project, and it can happen, but again, try to avoid it, you can fix up and clean up all those redirectors using this. So it could be that you have an empty folder, for example, and there's nothing in there anymore because everything has been moved to different locations, but for some reason you cannot delete the folder. It's probably because there are hidden redirectors in that folder, right? So then again, right click and fix up redirectors in the folder. Just wanted to make sure that that is, clear and out of the way. So should you run into problems with that, it's something that often happens with students. Um, just keep in mind that that is the solution that you can use. All right, so let's move ahead. Um, let's open up our blueprints folder. And in our blueprints folder, I'm going to create a new blueprints class. And if I click on, so right click and then new blueprint, and you will see that we have a list of available options here. We have actors, pawns, characters, player controller, game mode base, actor component, and scene component. These things should be familiar from the previous video where we went over the Unreal gameplay framework, right? These are these classes that we were talking about. In our case, I'm going to create a game mode base. So I'm going to click on game mode base. And I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it BP underscore my game mode. There we go. And I'm going to leave it for now. I'm not going to do anything with it just yet. I'm not going to open it, I mean. What I then want to do is want to go to Edit, Project Settings, and then under Project, head to Maps and Modes. And here you will see that I can actually set my default game mode for the project. By default, it's going to be set to game mode base or something else. It doesn't really matter that much. And if I click on the drop down, I will see a bunch of options. These are pre-made built-in game modes. But I will also see my Unreal Introduction game mode base. If I click on that, then I'm using my C++ game mode. That's the one that was located in our C++ classes folder. And as you can see, I cannot change anything here. Everything is grayed out and unavailable. This is because my C++ class hasn't exposed those parameters. So it's fully controlled from the code side of things. I cannot go in the editor and change these things. That's not always so convenient, especially when we're, having a lean, mean development and I kind of want to test different things out. So I want to have the opportunity to change these over here. And that's why we created our custom BP underscore my game mode. So I'm going to select that one instead. And as you can see, I can now change all my parameters, which is awesome. All right, I'm going to leave this for now, close it off. And I'm going to create a new pawn, a custom or first pawn. So again, right click, new blueprint class, and I'm going to select pawn. And I'm going to give this a name, BP underscore player pawn. There we go. Good. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to link my player pawn to my game mode. And I could go into edit and then project settings and go back to the setting menu there, but I could also just open up my game mode. And as you can see, this will open up the blueprint. There's a bunch of stuff in here. We'll go over this in a moment in the next video. But for now, I just want to go to my details panel and I will see I have all my presets here. And I'm going to go to the default pawn class, click on the drop down. I'm going to select my BP player pawn that I just created. There we go. Then I'm going to hit compile and then I'm going to hit save. There we go. And I'm going to close this off again. All right. So if I open it again, by the way, because it's now compiled, I won't get the same editor window anymore. I'm going to get this condensed editor window. Now, why is that? It detects that we didn't add any gameplay code or anything. So it's just going to show us the, the properties and the members that we can change, right? It's kind of like a cleaner condensed view. So should you open it again and panic like, oh, where's my other stuff? It's perfectly normal. It's just a cleaner way to visualize everything. If you then want to add custom gameplay code, you can click on the Open Full Blueprint Editor button. All right, just to make sure that should you already compile it and open it again and be kind of confused, that is actually what was happening. And I can go into Edit, Project Settings, and then again Maps and Modes, and I'll see that indeed the default pawn class has been replaced with my BP underscore player pawn. Good. Now to make sure that everything is correctly working, I'm going to hit play. I'm going to have some music here. And then if I hit Shift F1, I'm going to be a little bit louder, I regain control over my cursor. And let's have a look here. Indeed, BP my game mode and BP player pawn are being used. Excellent. So that means that our game mode is actually working the way we want it to work and everything is fine and dandy. Good. Now, this environment is not going to be really useful for us. So what we're going to do next is we're going to set up a little testing environment. So I'm going to open up levels, the levels folder that I created. And I'm also going to create file, go to file, and then new level, and then I'm going to select defaults. So we're going to create a new default scene. And all right. And what we'll do next is we're going to clean this up a little bit. So get rid of the floor, select the floor, hit delete. And I'm going to add, so in my place actors tab, I'm going to go to geometry. And then I'm going to drag this box into my environment. And I'm going to set this to 0, 0, 0. I want this to be at the origin. Right, I'm going to do this in the details panel. It's going to be an additive brush. And let's just set some sizes here. So let's have 1000, and then let's have it 100, and then 1000. Oh, nope, sorry. 1000 and then 100. I've been using Unity too much lately. All right, so now we have a base plate. It's 1 meter high, 10 by 10 meters. It might be still a little bit too small. We'll see. Perhaps, just set it to 2000 or 5000 even. Just so that we have enough room to play with, right? I mean, 5000 might be a bit much. 2500 might do the trick. There we go. So 25 meters by 25 meters. Yeah, that seems good. Right, so we have plenty of space to run around in. All right. And next up, I'm going to create some walls as well. So if you want, you can just skip ahead. Just set this up real quick, and then we can, get to work. So what I'll do is I'll just duplicate this. There we go. I might get back to this later on if I need to make some changes to my environment, but this should be more than enough. So we have a floor, a couple of walls, and I mean, to finish things off, it might be fun to add some materials as well. So luckily, we added the starter content. So we're going to go to materials, and let's have a look. We have some floor here, so some wood floor. You can just pick one that we kind of think is suitable. I'm going to take this one. You can take whatever you like, of course. And then for the walls as well, let's see, we have some brick walls. I'm just going to drag this material onto the walls like that. So now we have a little environment that we can then test and play in. All right, excellent, good. I'll leave it here, and in the next video we'll actually start creating some blueprints. We'll go over the blueprint editor and start fleshing out our custom pawn. See you in the next video.